This is a 9-person draft that we had at Gongaii Games out in Beaverton near the Portland area. The drafter on the screen here is Landon, a regular in our area. Looking at his picks here, I think that's an easy pack one, pick one Gargantula. Yeah, he's gonna go ahead and pick the Gargantula. Just the power level on that is too strong. Like, it is what you would consider to be like a bomb in the elite unique slot. So you would be hard pressed to not choose that, to take something over that instead. And especially since it is pack one, pick one. Your field is wide open. It gives you a lot of flexibility to be able to say, like, yeah, I'm probably going to be in Earth if that element is open. Looks like there's some playables in here at the 3-drop level. Some interesting tech cards like Willing Tribute. There's a Holy Water at the top there. Book Burners ability is not super relevant, but again, it's going to be a 3-drop in format. Searing Truth can be good. It can give you some card draw if you need to refresh your card advantage in the game at the expense of life. There was also a Holy Water, which is a decent removal in Limited. Landon prioritizing the Searing Truth over Holy Water. There's a Smite in this pack. Pick 3. It'd be hard pressed to, again, like, not take the Smite over just some of the vanilla playables in that pack, since he's already potentially in Earth with that Gargantula. So the Smite just makes sense. Flame Strike, very strong option here. Town Priest, also decent. Gift of the Serpent. There's a lot of good things in this pack. Undesirables, I don't think is worth grabbing here over some of these other high priority cards. Flame Strike, probably the best one of the bunch. And yeah, Landon's going to go ahead and pick the Flame Strike. So, off to a strong start with pack 1 here. Kind of cementing himself into this earth fire element lane. There's still plenty of playables in those colors in that pack. You went ahead and took the Crawler. I think that was probably the best earth fire spell to take in that pack there. Zeppelin of Zealots and Begone. I think there's a Flare in there too. The Flare, a very strong pick in my opinion. It helps to have that tech against skeletons and wards, especially in a Gothic only limited format. Landon almost picking the Zeppelin of Zealots, which I thought was going to be an interesting choice. But I agree that, yeah, like what he landed on there, the Begone. It's hard to pass up the Begone. It's just it's such strong, unconditional, almost unconditional removal, and like I think like the math based on the Gothic card pool is like he's like 75-80% of the minions are categorized evil. So it is likely that you get a target for Begone to remove. Again, in the last pack, taking a Hellhounds in fire on curve there, and top picks here between a Desert and a Wild Fanatic. Both of them fine choices, especially based on the elements that he's been able to draft into here. But with the Vast Desert, which I can't really argue with at this point. We're looking at what, like a middle of the pack pick there, like 3, 6, 8th pick Desert. Seems pretty good to pick up. It's just going to give you a lot of additional like damage ping utility and help you make some decent trades on the table here. There's a Hellhounds again in this pack, and I would pick the Hellhounds. It looks like Landon ends up taking that as well. Just filling out that 3 power on your minion curve. In limited games and deck construction, it is not unheard of to just win by having more middle of the pack minion power in your deck, having more vanilla 3 drops, 4 drops, and being able to just overwhelm board presence that way, making it harder for your opponent to equitably trade trade out and kind of just winning the minion value that way. He's got kind of some late picks here to round it out. The Bound Spirit is a decent late pick just because it's a 4 body and it is only 1 air threshold. So it makes it easier, like if he had to pivot or if he had to splash for a 3rd element. Bound Spirit is something that he could try to do. Makeshift Barricade, I think a decent, especially if you can get it as like a late pick, just in case you need kind of those last few cards in your deck to fill it out. And in a Cursed Desert, not a terrible site to pick up, especially late. It feels like a really good value site to pick up late in the game there. Just because, like, again, in especially Gothic only, there's so many skeletons and wards running around on the board. You do need you need a game plan to be able to deal with those things. River Rapids in this pack 2, and looks pretty good. Landon's nowhere near water, but honestly, if I was drafting, I'd probably just pick the River Rapids. The ability on the card is so strong, and I wouldn't even necessarily splash into water for my deck. I might just pick that as maybe my 1 tech card for the deck, just to have the ability to push things up on the board if that hits. Surprisingly, Landon's going with a foil Hellhounds instead. I think that brings his Hellhound count up to 3, which is an interesting choice. I think he wanted it probably to fill out that 3 power curve on his deck to get a little more meat in that band on the curve, and also just the fact that it's a foil is a nice bonus. He's looking up really quickly the current market value on TCG Player on the Apostle Angels card. I think he wasn't familiar with that card, and he wanted to make sure he wasn't passing up like an insane value unique. I think since I don't think it would have been very good in his deck, the deck that he's currently drafting. But it kind of would probably feel bad if you passed up on a unique in the draft if it ended up being like a $50-$60 value. They're not playing for prizes in this draft. This is kind of a casual draft, so everybody just they paid for admittance, and it basically just covers the packs, and then there's no prize out for winners, other than the dust rewards from the Play Network event itself. These last 2 packs, picking a Redmane, picking a Hot Wheel, again, all very good options, especially with the colors that he's already been able to pick up here. Mars Tomorrow, I think a questionable choice, especially in that pack. I think there were some other things that would have been a little more enticing to grab there. There's the only thing in his elements I think that is worth considering would be the Crawler, unless he wants to start taking some sites or or that conditional removal card, Fatality. He's taking the bloom. It's a bloom in element, in an element that he's already in, which is nice. And now he's there's a lot of decent playables in this pack as well. Screamer's a very strong choice, but he's not really in air. He does have the one bound spirit that he could potentially splash, and he's going with a Bind Evil, which again is conditional removal in format. Bind Evil, I think some other people are stronger on it. I would have preferred, I think, just to take another body. I think there was like a search party, like a vanilla 3. I'd rather have more vanilla 3s. Virgin and Prayer, I think personally I would have taken a different playable from that pack instead of the Virgin. Especially because, like, I think a lot of what he has I think drafted up to this point is evil, and so I'm not sure if he's going to be able to hit the wardable minion options. Getting a late smite passed to him, which is always surprising to see, but sometimes it does happen, and the stars seem to be aligning pretty well for Landon in this draft. Like he's been able to find open lanes in both fire and earth at just the right moments, catching a lot of very useful critical cards here. Filling out his minion curve with like a healthy amount of power. Like he's got like 3s, and the Gargantula again, pack one, pick one. Just a strong bomb to have in his back pocket. He picked up that Angry Mob to be a body in the deck and also help him in case somebody else has drafted a bomb that he needs to deal with in the elite or unique slot. Grabbing a Profound Revenant there from that pack. I mean, there weren't a lot of good options in that pack. The Vampire Bats, honestly, the Vampire Bats in that last pack he chose, like probably the strongest pick there. And again, like in cases like that, when you're drafting, like when you don't have something that's necessarily a good pick for you in the colors that you're already in, just picking the strongest card doesn't hurt. A late Fatality coming back to him, which again is also surprising to see that come through. Fatality is a little difficult to get to work sometimes. Like it's a lot more appealing to take a Fatality if you have like 1 or 2 deserts that you've been able to snag, and then at that point it starts to make a little bit more sense because you can ping something by playing the site, and then you could play the Fatality. Otherwise, trying to get the damage in to satisfy the condition on fatality removal is a little can get a little tricky. Pack 3, pick 1. It looks like Landon's taking the Saint of Redemption. It's decent. It's a decent unique to grab. I don't know if I would consider it like a bomb in format necessarily. It can certainly jam up tempo for your opponent, depending on what the board state is when it hits the table. But I think it's an okay choice for him. He's so far ahead. Like he has like such a strong card pool right now that it seems likely that he's going to be able to round that out pretty easily, no matter what he ends up choosing. Just waiting for this next pack to be passed to him. Saint of Redemption, I guess another. Getting past a Necromancer in pack 3, pick 2, which is just wild. I think in general, when you're doing a Gothic only draft, or a draft with Gothic in it, if you get past one of those really good avatars, like a Necromancer or a Savior, or even a Persecutor, I think it is best to just grab that and then figure out whether or not you can build the deck around it later. Partially just because like it's going to be such a strong potential option for you, anyways, and also it is essentially a hate draft piece as well. Like, you're denying everybody else in the pod access to that avatar. It seems like it's all upside, in my opinion. Picking a pan pipes there, I think, I don't know, Landon is probably a little higher on pan pipes than I am, in my opinion. But I think he likely chose that just because he was able to get that Necromancer suddenly. And if you don't have something like the Necromancer to get a bunch of tokens on the board and be able to like pump those up to 2 power, I think it makes less sense. But I think that was the logic behind that pack 3 pick 3 for Landon. And then just again taking a strong 3 power minion to get on the curve there with a bunch of relevant abilities. So the barging Regest, just a 3-drop for 3, but it has movement +1, which is frequently very relevant in games, as well as a Void Walk, which again is a very useful ability to have. Looking at pick 5 here, there's a Blade of Thorns being passed over. Landon goes in, I think, he grabs that one. There were a couple other playable options in there, I guess, but I don't know if there was necessarily anything like super strong in his chosen elements at this point. This pack, not a ton of great playables in Earth and Fire. There's a Kisser of Wounds, there's a Wiccan Tools, an Accursed Desert again. Maybe consider the Accursed Desert just to have that anti-ward tech, or the Kisser of Wounds as a 2-drop. He went with the Wiccan Tools, which is fine. He does have a lot of things that cost 2 threshold, so it is possible that he could play a Wiccan Tools to get him out of a casting jam if he's choked on thresholds in the game. There's an Ignited. I think that's probably the best pick for him. He goes ahead and chooses that. And a Crawler. Again, I think that's the best choice for him in his elements here. Water and Air getting past here. I think people have more or less cemented hopefully they've more or less cemented their element choices here by pack 3. Getting past the late Buried Alive, which is again surprising. But yeah, like, he's gonna grab that. It's hard, like, just there's nothing else comparable in that pack. It makes the most sense to snag that Buried Alive. Landon's card pool, like, just feeling really strong with a lot of good removal options here and a very strong minion curve, coupled with getting that Necromancer, just getting a ton of value from those skeleton generation tokens that he's going to be able to do here in his games. His deck doesn't necessarily like fully synergize with the Necromancer, I think, but that's okay. Like, the Necromancer doesn't need full synergy to get value out of it. Like, you're gonna get value no matter what if you can create the skeletons. Last pack, he's getting a late pass Virgin and Prayer, and I think that's fine to pick up a Virgin and Prayer later if you need it. Getting a second Bloom, which is nice, I think, again, just to help with some threshold fixings. A lot of the cards that he's picked have maybe like 2 threshold requirement, so I think it's nice to be able to catch some blooms to help fill out your deck. And then those last few cards, like again, like Martyrs of Tomorrow, I don't think a great card, and then Accusation, I don't think a great card in format. But now we're gonna move on, and we're looking at his. We're gonna take a quick peek at his deck building here, and you can see that he's laid out his minions based on power curve, and maybe casting cost curve here. I don't think he has anything above 4 power, but he has just a very strong 3 power, a 3 power minion slot, and his removal suite. His removal suite is very, very strong. So you see he has 2 smites. He has a Begone. He has a Buried Alive and a Flame Strike. So I mean, you're just looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like 5 or 6 very good removal spells. And then a Searing Truth, which can kind of help him refill his card draw engine at the expense of some life, if he needs that early mid game, or it is a win condition if you get your opponent to the door. So that's a potential inclusion into the deck as well. And I think he's probably pretty high on Searing Truth because he picked that pretty high. I believe that was maybe a pick 2. Like, was that a pack 1 pick 2, something like that? So Landon definitely prioritizing Searing Truth a lot higher. The Panpipes as well, I think, because just he's playing the Panpipes, I think specifically because he is playing Necromancer. And then Bind Evil sneaking in there as well as a Blade of Thorns. Those two, I'm not sure about. Like, he had some vanilla minions, and I might have just put another vanilla minion into the mix instead. But that's what Landon ended up with, and we'll see how he goes. We'll see how the deck goes in the rounds.